Hello and welcome to Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert, coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakuran. Let's take a look at the headlines. Federal government completes 105 power projects in 7 years. Senate moves to reduce President's power on EFCC chairman's removal. Plus, European Parliament VP Eva Kaili stripped of role amid corruption scandal. Details of these stories and more in a moment. First, in our news tonight, federal government has a total of 105 power transformer projects were completed between 2015 and 2022, adding a capacity of 6,216 megavolt amperes to the national grid. The Minister of Power, Abubakar Aliyu, stated this in Abuja at the 11th edition of the President Muhammadu Buhari Scorecard Series 2015 to 2023. In a presentation at the event hosted by the Ministry of Nigeria, the minister said the feat had changed the narrative of the power sector from consumption spending on subsidies to real infrastructure spending. In another development, federal government has announced that Nigerians with expired passports in the diaspora can be admitted into the country without visas. Nigeria Immigration Service (NIS) made the announcement in a letter addressed to all heads of ministries who, in a letter signed by DCI BM Lawal, the Special Assistant to the Controller General, Foreign Desk, directed that Nigerians with expired passports should be allowed into the country without hindrance, noted that expired Nigeria passport must be checked to ensure they were truly from Nigeria. Away from that, more than 5.7 million jobs have been created by the federal government in the past 7 years through the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. Dropping the hint, the Minister Adeleke Mamora also said 10th edition of President Muhammadu Buhari Administration Scorecard Series 2015 to 2023. He also noted that the Buhari-led government had created about 1 million job opportunities from national planning in mining and quarry. Meanwhile, the federal government has approved immediate relaxation of the COVID-19 safety measures and travel advisory. This was contained in a statement by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Chairman of the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, Bas Mustafa. He noted that President Muhammadu Buhari's approval followed the recommendations of the committee based on clinical and laboratory evidence of a sustained reduction in COVID-19 infection and transmission across the country. According to the statement, all pre-departure and post-arrival PCR test requirements for all persons who are not fully vaccinated have been suspended. It, however, encouraged all unvaccinated and partially vaccinated passengers to get fully vaccinated. Moving on now to the legislature, where the National Assembly says the ongoing review of the 1999 Constitution is bound to fail, as the state houses of assembly have failed. Of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila appealed to Governor Nasser El-Rufai of Kaduna State to urge his co-governors to press on legislatures in their states to consider the bills. Lawan and Gbajabiamila made the plea in Abuja at the second edition of the Distinguished Parliamentarians Lecture Series organized by the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies. They noted that the success or failure of every significant governance initiative depended on the extent to which the objective was a shared priority of the different arms of government and, in some cases, of the state governments. Still on legislative matters, Senate has begun the screening of the nominees of board. The Senate leader, Senator Ibrahim Gobert, APC Sokoto East, read the executive communication from President Buhari that the upper chamber do consider the request and the confirmation for the appointment as chairman and members of the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) in accordance with the provisions of Section 2, subsection 2A of the Niger Delta Development Commission Establishment Act, Cap and 86 LFN. Consequently, the President of the Senate, Senator Ahmad Lawan, APC Yobe North, referred it to the Senator Peter Nwa plenary next week, Tuesday. Meanwhile, Senate has postponed its debate on the cash withdrawal policy by the Central Bank of Nigeria till tomorrow. This is because of the absence of the chairman of the Committee on Banking and Finance, Senator Uba Sani, who is away attending the All Progressives Congress presidential rally in Kaduna. In a point of order, a member of the committee, Senator Olubunmi Adetumbi, told his colleagues that the report, which was to be presented at today's plenary, had to be withheld because Sani is in Kaduna. Adetumbi assured the Senate that the report of the committee on the CBN withdrawal policy was ready. Elsewhere, a bill seeking to whittle down the power in the Senate. The piece of legislation titled Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Establishment Act Amendment Bill and for other matters connected therewith 2022, sponsored by the Senate Minority Whip Senator Chukwuka Utazi, PDP Enugu North, also seeks the restriction of appointment into the office from EFCC staff. Senator Utazi, while leading the debate on the bill, said in ensuring the security of tenure for the EFCC chairman, the Senate. Meanwhile, House of Representatives has asked Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority to collaborate with Nigerian Police Force and DSS to clamp down on petroleum retailers that are selling above the regulated price. The lawmakers asked NNPC Limited to end the artificial scarcity within the next week. These resolutions followed a motion of urgent public importance moved by Saidi Abdullahi during today's plenary session. The lawmakers said intelligence at the disposal of the government shows the shortage is a result of deliberate sabotage by some elements. They added that some fuel stations sell for where Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed a suit seeking to bar the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, from participating in next year's election. In a judgment today, Justice Obiora Egwatu held that the suit filed by a political party, Action Alliance, was statute barred, having been filed outside the 14 days allowed under Constitution. Was grossly incompetent, thereby robbing the court of the jurisdiction to entertain it or grant the relief sought by the plaintiff. The judge equally held that the plaintiff lacked the local standing to file the suit, adding that Action Alliance acted as a busybody by seeking to interfere in the internal affairs of another political party. The plaintiff had, among others, prayed the court to declare that Tinubu's claim that he attended Government College Ibadan and the University of Chicago as contained on his INEC form was false. In another development, Chief Justice of Nigeria the clarification today in Abuja shortly before he declared open the Federal High Court Judges Conference in Abuja. Declaring the conference open, he said that the Judges Conference is for brother judges in a closed-door session to rub minds, tooth and tail, discuss closely how to move forward and how to tackle the challenges facing the court. Earlier in his welcome address, the Chief Judge of Federal High Court, Justice John Soho, recalled his Monday address, where he highlighted the court where Human Rights Commission is worried that with over 133 million Nigerians living in multidimensional poverty, thousands of women and children are violated daily, noting that this is a challenge that requires the input of everyone to curb the menace. Speaking with newsmen in Bauchi, Executive Secretary of the Commission, Tony Ojukwu, in a statement to mark the commemoration of 2022 International Human Rights Day, said this year's celebration was timely, considering that the millions of out-of-school children, the millions of people internally displaced by conflicts and floods across the country is a cause for concern, regardless of peculiar circumstances. On the news, Central Bank of Nigeria's withdrawal policy, point-of-sale terminal operators and a Lagos-based human rights lawyer, Femi Falana, are looking to sue the CBN if it fails to withdraw the limitations on over-the-counter cash withdrawals by individuals and companies. Falana described the new cash withdrawal limit party checks above 50,000 would no longer be eligible for over-the-counter payment, while extant limits of 10 million on clearing checks still remained in the policy set to commence implementation by January 9, 2023. In politics, People's Democratic Party Governors Forum PDP-GF, under the chairmanship of Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, has hailed Well, who is also the Sokoto State Governor, said this in a statement signed by the Director General PDP Governors Forum CID Madwabum in Abuja today. He said the forum joins members of his family and friends and indeed all citizens of Rivers State to celebrate a man of many dynamic parts who has redefined the essence of performance in public office through the provision of massive dividends of democracy in an era of scarce resources. Niger Kogi Command of the Nigeria Customs Service NCS says it has seized goods worth 165 in the month of November. The Customs Area Controller Kadejo Busayo disclosed this in Minna, the Niger State capital, saying the confiscated goods include 15 vehicles valued at 141 million naira. Busayo stated that other items seized were pharmaceuticals, footwear, imported soaps, machetes, jackknives, second-hand clothes, and canned sardines. On security matters ahead of the 2023 general elections, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, has met with stakeholders and spoken on intelligence gathering in tackling security challenges. Force Public Relations Officer Lumuyiwa Dejobi confirmed this in a statement. He said the meeting, which was held at the Force headquarters in Abuja, followed President Muhammadu Buhari's commitment to leave a legacy of a deepened democratic system and credible electoral operating procedures and strategic communication action plans geared towards having a seamless electoral process for next year. The IGP also called on the Nigeria Police spokespersons to develop and implement a productive strategic communication action plan that will give leverage to the already established operational drives of the police to have a free, fair, and credible election in 2023. He made the call at the ongoing 2022 Police Public Relations Officers Conference in Ibadan, Oyo State. Meanwhile, the Bayelsa State government has warned property developers in the state against requiring lands and developing loss of human lives due to yearly flooding. Governor Doye Diri gave the caution while declaring open a 3-day Bayelsa State Physical Planning and Development Summit organized by the State Physical Planning and Development Board today in Yenagoa. The governor, who decried the level of destruction in the state capital during the recent flooding, urged the residents to support the government in curbing the future occurrence of such a disaster. represented by his Deputy Senator Lawrence Ewujabwo. Governor Diri also directed the formation of a town planning committee in all the communities in the state to liaise with the board in acquiring lands and development of structures. Back here, Akwa Ibom people have been advised to take advantage and register for the insecticide-treated nets being made available across the state. The Malaria Logistics Supervisor for Global Healthcare, Dr. Kola Sumuyiwa, who noted that the collection was available in all communities, both urban and rural, added that the initiative was to lessen the burden of malaria in the society. A correspondent completes this report.
Felis mosquito. According to the World Health Organization, in 2021, there were an estimated 247 million cases of malaria worldwide, leading to 619,000 estimated deaths. The good news is, it is preventable and curable. Sleeping in insecticide-treated nets has been identified as one of the ways to prevent malaria transmission, and the Akwa Ibom State government, alongside its international partner, is making insecticide-treated nets available for residents across the states. Speaking on this, the Malaria Logistics Supervisor for Global Health
to protect us all and to lessen the burden of malaria in our society. This is actually the fourth campaign we're having here, so people are getting used to it, especially at the community level, because they know anytime they see us, they know why we're here, and of course because of the burden of malaria.
And collection in all communities.
It is very important to sleep inside these mosquito nets because mosquito bites everywhere. It's immense. Sleep inside, they are protected from mosquito bites. We know that. Then even apart from mosquito bites, even other insects protect us, especially at night. Even though mosquitoes even bite during the day anyway, but mostly at night. So mobilizers will be coming over to your houses to register you, and based on the number of people in each of your houses, they will issue you what you call net cards, which you are advised to keep until the 17th of December. That's for 5 days, 17th to 21st, where you will go to designated distribution points in your area to redeem the nets.
All efforts towards malaria elimination can only be achieved when everyone is involved in stopping.
Still to come in the news. Inflation rate slows more than expected to 7.1% in the U.S. To stay with us.
Season's greetings from Spectrum TV.
Many thanks for staying tuned. We move on now to Africa, where the U.S. has imposed financial sanctions on 4 Zimbabweans, including the son of President Emerson Mnangagwa. It accuses Emerson Mnangagwa Jr. of being linked to the businessman Kuda Kwashe Tagwire, who is already under U.S. sanctions for alleged corruption. The Treasury Department says over the last 5 years, Tagwire has used a combination of opaque business dealings and his ongoing relationship with the president to grow his business empire dramatically and rake in millions of dollars. In a statement, the Treasury Department urged Zimbabwe's government to address what it called the root causes of many of the country's ills, including corrupt elites abusing institutions for their personal benefit. Meanwhile, the government in the Democratic Republic of Congo has denounced what it calls the illegal presence of Rwanda-allied journalists in Congolese territory. DR Congo's Information Ministry alleged that propagandist media were being escorted by M23 rebel soldiers and Rwanda. Recall that last week the US urged Rwanda to end its support for the M23 rebel group, but Rwanda said the responsibility ought to be placed on DR Congo. It came amid a UN investigation that found that at least 131 civilians in DR Congo died in a November attack by the M23 rebel group. Still in Africa now, the world's only nonuplots, 9 babies born at the same time, have safely returned to Mali, their home country. The parents and their Minato Sangare, they had been living in a flat with medical support in the Moroccan city of Casablanca since leaving the Ain Bolja clinic, where the babies were born on 4th May 2021. They broke the Guinness World Record for the most children delivered in a single birth to survive. The babies, 5 girls and 4. Elsewhere, South African members of parliament are debating whether to initiate proceedings that could force out President Cyril Ramaphosa over allegations he concealed a huge cash theft at his farm. Ramaphosa championed support from the ruling African National Congress Party, which has been further divided by the scandal. An extraordinary parliamentary session in Cape Town discussed the findings of an independent panel which said Ramaphosa may be guilty of serious violations and misconduct. Lawmakers called to decide in an open vote by simple majority whether to launch an impeachment investigation against Ramaphosa, a lengthy probe that could lead to his removal from office. Still in Africa, Guinea's former leader, Moussa Camara, has denied responsibility when he took the stand at a trial of officials implicated in a 2009 massacre. He's instead linked the former ousted leader Alpha Condé to the 2009 stadium tree, and government officials stand accused over the killing of 156 people and the rape of at least 109 women by pro-junta forces at an opposition rally in Conakry Stadium in September 2009. Presiding Judge Ibrahima Tonkara reminded 57-year-old Camara of the charges the court had brought against him, ranging from murder to sexual violence, kidnappings, arson, and looting. Camara is charged with personal criminal responsibility and command responsibility. In Uganda now, the veteran President Yoweri Museveni has accused Europe of brazen double standards towards Africa in its climate and energy policies. He lashed out at Europe's return to coal-fired power plants in the face of the energy crisis triggered by the war in Ukraine, while at the same time telling African nations not to use fossil fuels. Museveni's comments follow warnings from African leaders. Elsewhere, the United States is rolling out the red carpet to leaders across Africa with plans to unveil $55 billion in support as part of a renewed bid to win back influence in the continent. Nearly 50 African heads of state or government are in Washington in the midst of a pre-Christmas cold snap for 3 days of courtship by President Joe Biden after years of inroads in the continent by China and Russia. Previewing the summit, Biden's National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said the advance of present times is that the blueprint would be the African Union's own Agenda 2063, its plan for sustainable development. On the foreign scene, European Parliament has stripped Greek lawmaker Eva Kaili of her senior assembly post today over allegations that World Cup host Qatar had bribed her to influence decision-making. She has, however, denied the charges. Kaili, who is one of 14 vice presidents in the parliament, was among 4 people arrested and charged in Belgium over the scandal that has triggered outrage in Brussels and risks damaging the European Union's image. The case, in which police discovered global rights abuses and taking EU governments to task over any hint of impropriety. Still on the foreign scene, the group of 7 leaders have pledged unwavering support to Ukraine by promising assistance with military and air defense systems. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky asked the group of 7 leaders to maintain its support for Ukraine next year while outlining 3 steps for securing peace. In a video statement, Zelensky, who said the first step was a new force, requested military equipment from the G7. He also said Ukraine needed more rockets, artillery, and long-range missiles, adding that his country required constant artillery support with guns and shells. Meanwhile, Belarus today named a new foreign more active stance in Russia's war on Ukraine. Minsk reportedly named Sergei Alenik as its new foreign minister to fill the position left empty after the death of Vladimir Mackay last month. Alenik was previously first deputy foreign minister. Andrei Lukyanovich, previously deputy head of the Air Force, was promoted to head of Belarus's Air Force and Air Defense units. And now it's time for the latest business and stock market stories. Here is Blyden. Okay.
And my name is Blyden Ukem. In the news, we begin with U.S. Economic Index. The annual inflation rate in the U.S. slowed for a 5th straight month to 7.1% in November of 2022 from 7.7% in October, the lowest since December last year and below market forecast of 7.3%. Inflation depicts an economic situation where there is a general rise in the price of goods and services continuously. The strongest upward pressure continues to come from services sector, while prices of goods are seen to soften due to improvement in supply chains. Despite the slowdown, the annual inflation is set to remain more than 3 times the Fed's 2% target, pointing to a broad price increase across the economy. The biggest wheat producers are China, India, Russia, the US, France, Australia, and Canada. Wheat prices rose to $7.4 per bushel from the 14-month low of $7.05 hit on December 6, after an attack by Russian forces in a key Ukrainian port temporarily halted exports of Ukrainian wheat. Ukraine raised concerns over the future of a recently signed extension to the agreement between Russia and Ukraine that guarantees a trade corridor for vessels carrying wheat out of the Ukrainian Black Sea ports. Still, strong supply from other major producers and signs of lower demand capped the rebound for wheat prices. Also, the harvest in top exporter Russia was the highest on record in the current marketing year, extending competition to North American markets. Elsewhere, rainfall in Argentina eased concerns that drought would damage crops. To the foreign exchange market. Ghana's cedi appreciated sharply to 10.2 for a 3-year loan package of $3 billion. This means that the agreement still requires the approval of the IMF Management and Economic Executive Board. The economic program aims to restore macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability as the West African country battles its worst economic crisis. Is to improve the country's shock resilience and reduce its dependence on the funds program. The cedi is down almost 48% against the dollar this year. However, it strengthened more than 23% since the start of December after the latest IMF visit and a domestic debt exchange was announced. It's time for the Nigerian stock market report. Shares in 3,286 deals, corresponding to a market value of 3.874 billion naira, were traded. The benchmark all-share index pad 45.54 basis points to close at 48,853.54 points. The current market capitalization of the Nigerian Stock Exchange is 29 in volume, 54% improvement in turnover, but 1% decline in deals. In aggregate, 104 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 13 gainers and 16 losers. Smart Product Nigeria led the gainers with 10% share price appreciation, closing at 9.3% at 78 kobo per share. Sterling Bank recorded the highest volume of 31.6 million traded shares. This is all on business news, and back to Xavier Roberts.
Many thanks, Blyden. Still to come in the news. Pistons Cade Cunningham to have season-ending surgery. Just stay with us.
Every day, we bring you up-to-date information on topical issues affecting the common Nigerian.
Some issues on politics,
Hello Nigerians, I remain committed.
security,
Education, health,
lifestyle, and so much more. Join Janice Kobum and Uyai Anyeken
every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily, exclusive on Spectrum Television.
Season's greetings from Spectrum TV.
Many thanks for staying tuned. Now, in health, it has emerged that Nigeria spent a total of $6.2 million on foreign health care related services from January to August 22, 2023. This is according to a report obtained from the Central Bank of Nigeria on the amount spent on health related and social services under the sectoral utilization for transactions valid for foreign exchange. According to the report, was spent in February. Meanwhile, stakeholders have lamented poor access to forex for the importation and manufacturing of essential medicines. Still in health, a series of town hall meetings and media engagements organized by civil society organizations on the new National Health Insurance Authority Act have shown that the number of persons enrolled in any form of prepaid insurance in Nigeria is still low despite the benefits. Recall that the act was enacted on May 24 with the major objective of making health insurance mandatory in the National Health Insurance Scheme, as well as cushion the effect of out-of-pocket expenses among citizens. Reports say the communication and marketing priority of the National Health Insurance Policy Strategic Plan entails that the scheme develops and implements strategic marketing and communication plan to increase public awareness. In sports, Detroit Pistons guard Cade Cunningham, the #1 overall pick in the 2021 draft, on his left shin. Cunningham, who has been sidelined since November 9, consulted with multiple doctors in recent weeks and ultimately decided with the Pistons and his representatives at Excel Sports to undergo a procedure that's expected to have him fully recovered ahead of training camp for the 2023-2024 season. Cunningham took a month to see if rest and rehabilitation would allow for the shin to improve, but 2 rebounds and 6 assists in 12 games this season. He was third in the Rookie of the Year voting behind Scotty Barnes and Evan Mobley and was chosen as a first-team All-Rookie a season ago. So in sports, Fred Vasseur has been signed to replace the outgoing Mattia Binotto as Ferrari's Formula One boss for the 2023 season. The team confirmed the development today. Vasseur, who has been Alfa Romeo team principal since 2017, was widely expected to take the job after Binotto and Ferrari confirmed their split following the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. He will inherit a competitive Ferrari car which won 4 races and claimed 12 pole positions, with Charles Leclerc been tasked with ending Ferrari's championship drought, as the team has not won a driver's title since Kimi Raikkonen's in 2007 or a constructor's title since 2008. Elsewhere, Uganda will withdraw from the African Nations Championships because of a row over government funding. This was announced by the president of the Federation of Uganda Football Associations, Moses Magogo. Magogo, who is also a member of the Ugandan parliament, said pulling out of the tournament, which is scheduled to begin in Algeria on January 13, was sad. The next year's tournament is due to feature 18 teams, so if Uganda do pull out, it will leave organizers, the Confederation of African Football (CAF), needing a replacement at short notice, or with 17 teams in an already unusual format. The finals, which are for local-based players, are set. On our entertainment news, on this week's UK official singles chart, the Afrobeat contingents of Burna Boy and Rema have continued to fly Nigeria's flag. In the chart week, Rema's Calm Down remix featuring Selena Gomez slips from its 12th position last week to number 26 this week. Black Panther Wakanda Forever soundtrack appears at number 62 as it slips 24 places from its 38th position last week. His smash hit Last Last enters an impressive 30th week on the chart, appearing at number 90 this week, sliding 14 places from its 76th position last week. On UK Afrobeat chart, Burna Boy's Alone retains its number 1 spot on the chart as it continues to enjoy an impressive run, while Ira Star's Rush moves up to number 2 spot. So on entertainment, Nigerian disc jockey, better known as DJ Kapi, has finally confirmed her engagement to Ryan Taylor, the UK boxer. The couple had earlier made their relationship known publicly a few days ago. Gumball 3000 driving rally in Dubai 25 days ago. And finally, on entertainment news, a reality TV contestant has been found guilty of disclosing a private sexual film after a video of him having sex with a woman was published on OnlyFans. Stephen Bear, 32 years old, shared a CCTV video of himself and Georgia Harrison, 27, effectively selling it for money. Bear of Brownie Clothes Films, the 2016 Celebrity Big Brother winner, was found guilty of all charges. The jury reached unanimous verdicts on both counts of disclosing private sexual photos and films with intent to causing distress. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which. You have a terrific night rest. Bye-bye.